Get ready to be inspired by the great things happening in rural education. The Rural Scoop will bring you new ideas and innovative solutions. We'll dive into education issues and we'll highlight what's working in your rural communities. You will hear from a variety of educators, administrators, professionals, and others who will provide relevant and engaging content in each episode. And now, serving up the scoop, here's your host, Dr. Melissa Sadorf.
Well, welcome back to the Rural Scoop, where we dig into the stories, strategies, and spirit of rural education. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa Sadorf, a rural advocate, educator, and believer that powerful things happen when we elevate the voices and experiences of those leading in rural spaces. Today's episode is both timely and deeply important. We're talking about moral courage, historical memory, and how we prepare our students, not just academically, but ethically, for the world that they're inheriting. And to do that, we're going to talk about the Holocaust, not as a history lesson, but as a lens for understanding what it means to be human in the face of injustice. So joining me today is Leigh Routman, the Executive Director of the Holocaust Learning Experience, which is a program that's doing more than just checking a box for mandated instruction. It's equipping students, especially in rural and underserved districts, with tools to think critically, act empathetically, and recognize the power of individual action in shaping history. If you've ever wondered how to bring meaningful, age-appropriate Holocaust education to your district, this conversation is for you. Leigh and I are going to unpack how the program was created, how it's different, and why it's resonating so deeply with rural educators and students alike. So let's get started. Leigh, thank you, first of all, for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Sadorf, for that wonderful introduction. I feel like I don't even have anything to say to follow that. So I'm Leigh Routman. I am the Executive Director of the Holocaust Learning Experience. My background is in social work, but I've been working with Holocaust survivors in education for well over a decade. My colleague and I, Dr. Jenny Frommer, who also has worked with Holocaust survivors for decades, are thrilled to have this program going out far and wide throughout the communities.
Well, Leigh, start us off with a little bit about what personally drew you to Holocaust education work, and how did you end up at the Holocaust Learning Experience?
Absolutely. Thank you. So I've been working with Holocaust survivors for many, many, many years, working with them through the claims conference for Holocaust survivors, and really hearing their stories and being with them in the clinical setting, in the socialization setting, and the educational setting. I've had the opportunity and privilege of taking survivors we're based in Southeast Florida. So I've had the privilege and honor of taking them into classrooms over the past 12, 13 years, helping them share their stories and their experiences with students, and seeing the impact that it has with students wherever they go. How I got drawn into this program. So I worked with the Jewish Family Services with Dr. Jenny Frommer for years. And she left Jewish Family Services, retired, came out of retirement to work with Holocaust survivors to start the NOW initiative to help, again, clinically with Holocaust survivors. And then out of that program, if you're working with Holocaust survivors enough, you know that they implore you, what are you doing to keep our stories alive? How are you educating the youth of today to understand and learn from the lessons that we experienced through the trauma that we went through? So hearing that from survivors is really what drove Dr. Frommer and I to move this program forward, create this program, and really implement it far and wide, because we want to honor the survivors' wishes. We want to help them have students bear witness to their stories, and we want to help them heal. And we're helping them heal through education, and we feel like we're also helping students healing the hate through education as well.
What specific events or conversations really catalyzed the formation of this program? Can you tell us a little bit about how HLE was created?
Yes, absolutely. So it started in West Palm Beach, Florida, which is where we're located. It was going to be a program just in Palm Beach County. And then in 2022, we realized that there was a unfunded mandate in the state of Florida And in 2023, there were standards and benchmarks added to that. So the original mandate for state of Florida Holocaust education goes back to 1994, unfunded, no standards and benchmarks, very similar to the other 26 states that have a Holocaust mandate that just say you must teach Holocaust. There was no bite to it. And then in 2023, the state of Florida launched their standards and benchmarks for the mandate for Holocaust education. And we saw this as an opportunity to align our program to the state of Florida standards and benchmarks at 100%, which covers 5th grade through 12th grade. So that is how we aligned our program. And our program is such an easy crosswalk nationally because the other 26 states that do have a mandate, usually the mandate just says you must teach the Holocaust or you must teach genocide. So knowing that we have incorporated the standards and benchmarks of the state of Florida, so in detail, we know that we can bring this, and we have been bringing this across the country.
Were there particular student needs or instructional limitations or educator feedback that helped shape the direction of the program as you grew it out?
Absolutely. So we take feedback from our teachers very seriously. We are very teacher-centric, teacher-focused. We want to give teachers everything that they need to teach the lessons from the Holocaust. What we've heard from teachers in the past is it's a daunting task. Most school districts tell the teachers to go to these different sites, pull material, pull it together, and share it out. And teachers are worried that they're pulling the right information, the wrong information. They might not be sharing it in the right way. They might not be putting the correct context in. So we had a subject matter expert as a retired educator from Broward County who taught Holocaust education for over 20 years, help us pull this together. So she wrote the curriculum to align it to the standards for the state of Florida. And what we're hearing from teachers now is that it's a gift to them. They are thrilled to be able to use this program whenever they want, throughout their classrooms, throughout their curriculum. One teacher said to me, Leigh, I've been working on a Kristallnacht lesson for 9 years, 9 years, pulling materials together, tweaking it, working on it, tweaking it, making it better. And then here you come in with this gift of a lesson already complete, which is amazing. And I can implement it directly into my classroom. So what we've heard from teachers is, yes, it's daunting. They want to teach it, but sometimes they're afraid to teach it. They want to share this with their students. They want to really encourage their students to learn from history, to be empathetic, to be, building better people, increase their moral character. But they're not sure where to go. So we've bundled the program and given it to them kind of in a nice, neatly wrapped package for them to use.
So, and that goes to my next question. How does this curriculum and this program differ from more traditional Holocaust education tools like textbooks or museum trips, which sometimes are out of the reach of our rural communities anyway?
Correct. So knowing that those are out of reach to a lot of districts, I'll take it back again. Why we started this program. We're so fortunate in South Florida where we do have an abundance of Holocaust survivors to bring into classrooms. But in sitting and having these conversations, it dawned on us that if you just leave Southeast Florida, where are the Holocaust survivors? There's no Holocaust survivors to go into classrooms. So students are missing that piece, that living history component, which is a part of our program. And then also, again, yes, museums are amazing. We encourage any school district that can go visit a museum and share that experience. But what we're hearing from teachers and what we've heard from teachers is that it would be so much more beneficial if they had education that they could share with their students before they go to the museum, after they go to the museum to help them process. So going into the museum, having a better understanding and a better context, and then leaving the museum and still being able to have those conversations, those meaningful conversations with their students is so important. So that's what we've been hearing from teachers, and we encourage any kind of Holocaust education that you can do that's an experience that can help bring the students into something, but really important to have that really great knowledge base and understanding and contextual understanding before they go into the museum.
This program is amazing because it's technology based. It's a plug and play learning management system with, as you said, grade level lessons and survivor stories. Can you talk a little bit about what makes that model effective in both content delivery, but also with student engagement?
Absolutely. So each one of our lessons and every one of our over 40 lessons in our catalog are set up exactly the same way, age appropriate through different grade levels from 5th grade through 12th grade. It starts with the teacher's resource guide. That's really the tool that we give to the teachers. So whether or not they've been educated in the Holocaust, whether or not they've had the opportunity to learn how to teach the Holocaust, it doesn't matter. They can use this as their tool. Teachers are using it and they're learning alongside their students. We give them everything that they need, questions and answers, vocabulary, critical thinking. This year, we added in discussion knowledge-based assessments because teachers wanted to see if their students were learning outside of the moral character piece. They wanted to see if they were actually learning about the Holocaust as well. The first piece of that program is the teacher's resource guide. Then the second piece is our pre-recorded mini documentary style multimedia lesson. So we've taken what's been written by our subject matter expert and made them into a documentary that is about 10 to 15 minutes long, depending upon the lesson. And that correlates to a survivor testimony. So we have survivors that we're working with down here in South Florida. Again, it goes back to our why, to honor them. They know that they're a part of this program and their stories coincide with the lesson. So if the lesson is on a topic like bias and prejudice, the students are hearing from that living history. They're hearing the survivor's story, and then they're hearing the survivor with a call to action about bias and prejudice, what they want students to know today. So it really is not just hearing the survivor story, it's hearing the survivor story and then hearing their call to action. And that's what makes it so unique. It's the way it's bundled. It's the way that teachers can hit pause at any point during the lesson or any point during the survivor testimony and process what they're learning with their students, answer those questions and have that deep critical thinking discussions with their students while they're going through the lesson.
Leigh, how do the students typically respond to that survivor testimony? I mean, the format is amazing because obviously you can interact with it. But in rural and isolated communities that you know that this has been launched in, what's been the response?
The feedback from students has been incredible. So part of our program is data collection. So we do have student surveys that we ask the students to do, but there's no identifying information shared with us. It's a look back, it's a Likert scale kind of survey. And I can share with you that we've had thousands of students respond to our survey, and 90% of the students share that after participating in a lesson, they are more likely to stand up and say something if they see something, stand up against hate, which is our overarching goal. That is that character building piece. And 84% of students reported understanding the importance of being able to recognize yourself in someone else's shoes. And that's that empathy piece that we're trying to build on. So the student outcomes have been incredible. We collect the data in real time. We're the only program that does this. So at the end of every lesson, we ask teachers to share with their students a QR code or a link, and students can then just go ahead and answer the questions regarding the lesson that they just participated in. And then it just comes to us and it's brought together in aggregate form. Again, no identifying data. And those have been the outcomes so far. And it's really been amazing to see.
So, and I want to step into that just a little bit further beyond the content knowledge of the Holocaust itself, those social, emotional, or civic outcomes. You mentioned empathy and you mentioned the see something, say something. What are the other things that you hope students are taking away from these lessons?
Right. So we're hoping to heal the hate and we're hoping to build better people. We're hoping that students understand and can mitigate the language of hate, bigotry, bias, and prejudice. We hope that they can learn and understand what propaganda is and how to stand up against it.
Can you walk us through the timeline of when HLE was launched and piloted and fully implemented? What does that process look like in a district?
Absolutely. Well, I'll share our overall growth as a program, and then I'll back into how other districts are on board with us. So the program was launched in 2022 is when we started building out the program. We piloted it in the 23-24 school year with 5 school districts throughout the state of Florida, which was wonderful. And then at the end of 2023, we received a $2 million grant from the state of Florida to roll it out to all 67 school districts. So this year was our first true implementation year, and we had a 300% growth spurt in the state of Florida. We went from 5 districts to well over half of the districts in Florida. Florida has 67 school districts. It's set up a little differently, and we know every state is set up differently with their districts, but Florida has 67, and we are now in well over half. And we're hoping to get the other half onboarded this coming school year. So the pilot year was 23-24 school year. Full implementation was this past school year. This past school year, we also had districts in New Jersey using the program. And we're just going to continue to go from there. If any new districts want to bring the program in, it's very easy. It's just reaching out to me. I can show them how to use the program and give them a how-to on what the program is. And then it's just a matter of saying, yes, they want it in their district, that we send in an enrollment key for their teachers. And then we set up an orientation via Zoom for their teachers to teach them how to use the program, because we want to set them up for success. We're not just sending it out there. We want to take the time with the teachers in the districts and show them how to use the program and show them how to navigate through it so they're comfortable with it. And we're going to be offering these all year long. We'll be offering them twice a month, and then we'll also be doing them on demand for districts as they onboard and want to learn more.
That's fantastic. You mentioned that you like that teacher feedback, and you want it because it helps you shape and better what you're putting forward. So what lessons did you learn from that initial launch to now that has helped shape the current version of the program?
And that's a great question. So some feedback from the first year, we're adding languages. So we, this past year, have closed captioned every lesson and every survivor testimony. Right now, they're closed captioned in 5 languages: English for students who might be hearing impaired, Spanish, Creole, Russian, and Portuguese.
Wow.
And that, again, is based on feedback we received from districts for what their needs were. And we do have the ability to add additional languages as needed for closed captioning. We also learned, again, teachers wanted a knowledge-based assessment. So our pilot year, we did not have knowledge-based assessments in our teacher's resource guide. And this year we added them in across the board. So every lesson in our catalog has a knowledge-based assessment for those teachers to share with their students. And it's theirs to use however they want. If they want to have it as a discussion with their students to dig deeper, if they want to give it out as a quiz, it's theirs to use on their own.
Wow, that's fantastic. Are there trends that you've seen, Leigh, in how rural educators or students are engaging differently with the materials compared to urban or suburban districts?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. I have not assessed the difference in how that's being played out. I can share with you that the rollout across the rural districts in Florida, the district-wide has been incredible. Once we get into one, it just blew up with all of them. So I can share that, the rural districts across the panhandle of Florida, all jumped on board with this program as soon as they saw it, as soon as they heard it, as soon as they learned about it, they wanted it because they don't have access. And that's the beautiful thing about this program is it's accessible to anyone. And if a school district has Wi-Fi, they can implement this program. And I don't think I've shared this yet, but this program is offered at no charge to any district across the country.
You hadn't, so I'm glad that you did.
I should have led with that.
Yeah, no kidding. So I do think that's important, especially for our rural districts that typically don't have a lot of extra budget capacity to stand up this kind of a program, that there is no cost for it.
Absolutely.
How many do you have a sense? And I know that you are outside of the state of Florida at this time, and obviously it's growing. How many rural schools have adopted the program to date? Do you have an idea?
Schools. So we don't measure schools. We measure
districts.
We do districts. Some districts have 1 school, some have 30. Our outcomes in our learning management system is just based on district.
You mentioned previously that there are states that have a Holocaust education mandate for their schools. So for a state, and you said there's 26 of them that do, but for those states that don't have a mandate, how would you make the case for voluntary adoption of the program?
Absolutely. It's a great question. So even though they might not have a mandate, Holocaust education is usually woven through their social studies or world history classes. So it still is in there. It's just not necessarily a separated mandate. And again, our overarching goal is not teaching the Holocaust. Our overarching goal is building better people, that character building, that moral compass building. So that can be woven anywhere. And what I like to say about this program is we've broken that mold of Holocaust education only taking place in a Holocaust education class in an elective or during that 1 week of Holocaust education week, usually which takes place around Kristallnacht in November, or some districts might do it around International Holocaust Remembrance Day in January. This program is meant to be a cross-curricular, cross-curriculum, and interdisciplinary. So what we're seeing is teachers are using this throughout the year. It might be a lesson in 5th grade on bullying. It might be a lesson in 10th grade on bias and prejudice or the impact of hate and bigotry. It doesn't only have to be during Holocaust Education Week. Teachers can weave it into their curriculum whenever it best fits their needs. And a really neat outcome of it is teachers are working interdisciplinary. I've been in teacher orientations where the social studies advisor for the school comes in at the end and says, okay, now I want you to all turn to your neighbor and figure out how you're going to use this interdisciplinary, with the language arts teacher being in the room, the social studies teacher, and the world history teacher, and the geography teacher. We have an economics class about corporate complicity. So all of these lessons can be woven into many different classes. We have a middle school lesson on how much is 6 million, which is perfect for a math class. Really helping students conceptualize what is 6 million of anything, right? So that's our goal, is to weave it through, is to break that mold of it only happening, once or twice a year, really giving this to teachers for them to use when they best want to use it, when they think it fits best into their curriculum.
Leigh, what are some of the policy challenges or opportunities that are related to those Holocaust mandates across the U.S.? Have you seen any successful legislative advocacy efforts, whether it's tied to HLE's expansion or not, that might be important for people to know about?
I think it's important to know that every year, it seems more states are having mandates put into their policy. When we started this back in 22, I think it was 20 states that had a Holocaust mandate. And now this past school year, it was 26 states had a Holocaust mandate. I think more states are implementing that in their policy going forward.
Are you working with any states currently to expand access?
No, we kind of stay out of the policy, where we look at ourselves as more of a solution to what the states want to implement. We're a solution, whether or not they have the mandate on their books.
That's very good to know that it's an option whether your state has a mandate or not. So if a district expresses interest to you, how quickly can you get the program up and running with them? And are there any bottlenecks or common challenges on the onboarding process that you might want to highlight?
Very quickly is the answer. If a district wants to work with us, they just email us and we can get that conversation started. It depends on if they want to have a Zoom meeting to learn more about it. After the Zoom meeting, we can send them the commitment email and then the enrollment key once they respond back. The only commitment that we ask for is that districts recognize that the material is copywritten and proprietary, and that all the teachers that are in the system are only using their district email. We don't want any Gmails or Yahoos in there. We just want school district email so that we know that those teachers are in that district. Those are our parameters. Other than that, it's just as simple as us emailing them the enrollment key and then setting up a teacher orientation We're also going to have a teacher orientation that will be living on our learning management system. So if a teacher wanted to get it and use it right away, they could watch that orientation and just go full steam ahead into the program. But we do like to offer those teacher trainings because we like to be in front of the teachers and hear what their thoughts are. And that's part of that feedback loop that we have with them.
Can you talk a little bit more about that training? Because I know that you will come to them, but there are, I'm sure, other ways that they might be able to get that training.
Absolutely. So we do as many in-person ones as we can in the state of Florida. Outside the state of Florida, it'll be a little harder for us to do those in-person trainings. So we will be hosting them on webinars once a month, and then we'll also do them on demand. So if a district onboards with us and they say, our teacher training is Tuesday, September 9th at 4 p.m., can you be there? We will set up a Zoom to be there as well. So we'll be doing them virtually.
Do you have any post-training support that educators can tap into?
We do. So on our learning management system, there's a contact us button. That there's any questions that teachers might have or any issues that they might have, they can click that contact us button and the email comes directly to us and we can follow up with them. And we've had it used a few times. It's usually because they forgot their username and password. And then we're able to reset that for them. And that's really that's really been the biggest challenge is that people forget their username and password. Mm-hmm. So other than that, we haven't really had much feedback given to us through the learning management system. We do a yearly teacher survey at the end of the year where we ask specific questions about how did it work for you this year? What were your thoughts on it? Is it relevant to what's happening in the world today? Did you find it helpful for your students? Mm-hmm. And the feedback this year, I've never seen anything like this. We had 100% of the teachers that responded said that they felt that this program was relevant to the world today and impactful for their students. I was pleasantly surprised. 100% of them reported that. So that's the feedback that we're getting from teachers. They are calling this a gift. Especially those rural districts, the teachers in the rural districts and the administrators in the rural districts, because they don't have access. They might not have access to the museum. They might not have access to any place to go or anyone coming to them. So this is going directly to them for them to use. Yeah.
And it's high quality. You have spent a lot of time, effort, and energy in making sure that all of the content is of very, very high quality.
Thank you.
Could you share with us, Leigh, a story or two from a rural classroom on how this program has made a difference in that particular school setting?
Absolutely. So we were up in rural Florida and doing teacher training. It was very interesting. There was a teacher in there who was very angry that he had to be in this training. And he felt like he just didn't want to learn what we were talking about. So he got up and he left the teacher training. He happened to be a PE teacher. Okay. And he was just very, very angry. And he took a couple of breaths and then he came back in and he sat down in the classroom. And what we do in our teacher trainings is we take teachers through who we are, why we're doing what we're doing, how we're doing it. And then we pull them through a full lesson so they can experience what a full lesson would be like that they would be sharing with their students. So the program director that was in this district quickly pivoted and shared the lesson on athletes from the Holocaust, right? So the 1936 Olympics and Jesse Owens, that was all took, right? So this teacher sat there in awe. And as soon as the lesson was over, he stood up in front of the classroom that he had just stormed out of and said, I never knew any of this. This is amazing. Everyone should be using this program because there's something in there for everybody. There's something in there for every teacher to use and to learn from and to share with their students. And you don't know what you don't know. And this is a program where teachers and students can learn together and can grow together as well.
So what advice are you going to give to a school leader in a rural community who wants to begin this work but doesn't know where to start?
Mm-hmm. We have in our program on our learning management system, exactly for that reason, pacing guides. So what we've heard from teachers, because in our learning management system, the lessons live alphabetical, not necessarily chronological. So we wanted to make it easy for teachers. If they didn't know anything about the Holocaust, there is a historical timeline right in there that shows from 1933 to 1945. It gives you about a sentence or two for each year of the historical timeline. And then we've paced it out from 5th grade through 12th grade, where we suggest you start. They're just suggestions. Teachers can weave it throughout however they'd like, but we've added in this pacing guide. We're really trying so hard to make this program so easy for teachers to use that they want to use it and they see the benefit of using it. So we have that in there. And then just recently, we added in a teacher from one of the districts sent us an outcome video. He made a mural. He had the students each make a poster board of what they learned from the video. So he put that in a video for us, and we uploaded that in there as well. So if teachers want to see what they could do with this information once their students are learning it and digesting it, we put that in there for them as well. And we encourage any teacher who does any kind of amazing programs with their student, they want to share it with us, and we'll put it in there as well. And we'll have this great tool chest for teachers to go in and see what other teachers are doing with the material, and we can share it out far and wide so our teachers can learn from each other as well.
So is there anything else about the program or about the Holocaust Learning Experience in general that we didn't touch on that you want people to know about?
I think in summary, it's incredibly well received. Teachers, again, I'm going to say it again because it's so important. Teachers are calling it a gift. They want to teach. They want to know the information and share with their students. They want their students to be better people. They want their students to understand the importance of mitigating the language of hate, bigotry, bias, and prejudice. There's a roadblock in trying to figure that out on their own. So we look at this as a gift to them. They're looking at it as a gift to them. And it's just been an incredible journey so far. We are excited to be able to offer this at no charge to any district across the country. I think that's really it. I think we really hit a lot of the salient points.
And how can they get a hold of you if they want more information?
Absolutely. They can email me directly at lroutman@holocaustlearningexperience.org. And they can go to our website, which is holocaustlearningexperience.org. There's a contact button there as well. So they can go to either of those places and reach out, and then we can get them started into the program.
Wonderful. And finally, the question that I always ask my guests, what does the term rural advantage mean to you?
Rural advantage to me means community. It means collective growth and partnerships. It means strong multi-generational family bonds. It means close-knit communities and openness to smaller learning, more personalized learning. I think rural districts, I've got to experience a lot of the rural districts in Florida, and they're just so, and a lot of the school board members from the rural districts, and they are so deeply embedded in their communities. They provide amazing support systems to their students and their parents and their teachers. And there's such a strong passion about what they're giving to their students in those districts. So really that's what the rural advantage means to me. I really enjoy the work that we've been doing with the rural districts throughout Florida. And I look forward to working with the rural districts throughout the country.
That's a great answer. I sprung that on you. You did a good job.
Yeah.
Oh, Leigh, I want to thank you for sharing your time and your insights and your heart with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation and the opportunity, and I look forward to working with you and the National Rural Education Association going forward and being at the conferences and really bringing on all the rural districts that we can. We're happy to bring every single one of them into the program.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is more than just a curriculum. It really is a catalyst that invites students to wrestle with big questions and reflect on their own values and stand up for each other in their daily lives, which is fantastic. And for rural districts, especially where resources are stretched thin, having access to something that is so thoughtfully built and ready to implement is, as you noted, it really is a gift. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
To our listeners, if today's conversation sparked something in you, please take the next step, whether it's reaching out to learn more about the program or starting a conversation in your own district about how we teach history and humanity, because that leadership that you show matters. You can find information on the Holocaust Learning Experience in the show notes, and I encourage you to explore what they offer. If you like what you heard today, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform, because it helps others find the Rural Scoop and ensures that we can keep bringing you the conversations that matter to rural leaders across the country. And as always, remember that rural leadership isn't about scarcity, it's about strength and leading with purpose, building with heart, and showing up for our communities every single day. I'm Melissa Sadorf, and this has been The Rural Scoop. Until next time, keep leaning into the rural advantage.
Thanks so much for tuning in to The Rural Scoop. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe. Your support helps us keep these important rural conversations going. And we'd love to hear from you, so feel free to leave a comment or share your thoughts. You can follow along and never miss a new release by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform or by following us on social. We're on YouTube at The Rural Scoop, Instagram at msadorf1, and X at msadorf03. The Rural Scoop is produced with support from Vela Educational Consultants. To learn more, visit velaconsultants.com. See you next time for more great discussions about rural education. And as always, keep leaning in to the rural advantage.